Okay, so we have Rebecca here who's been really nice to take a few minutes to go through her journey with us. And we're just going to start off the whole video. Give a sentence or two about yourself, who you are, what you do, and who actually Rebecca is.
I'm Rebecca Howard, and I'm a Canadian. I grew up in Canada, but now live in the UK. Have for almost 8 years now along with my career in sport of eventing. So I work with horses, train and compete horses. So yeah, quite an active lifestyle that's brought me all over the world, but I've ended up here in England.
Nice. In a nutshell.
Yeah.
With the girls to kind of going back to just like where you were before, like, so this is before you seen me, whoever. What were you actually struggling with in the past in terms of like your nutrition training? Like, kind of what was the actual problem you had before that made you kind of look and find something to fix it, I suppose?
Yeah. Well, I'm 41 now, and for as long as I can remember, certainly fitness and athletics has always been a part of my life, of a sport of some sort. And ultimately my career and passions pointed towards the equestrian side of things. So I've always been, quite active and interested in training and that sort of thing, which also then, went hand in hand with diets or nutrition, whatever one wants to call it. And I think for I would have thought of myself as having sort of physique goals as well, or just wanting to be a certain way, but also that related very directly to the sport and the job that I did, and trying to compete at quite an elite level with horses. I'm a tall person. I was always in this pursuit to be leaner and lighter, and basically just led me down a path of lots of diets, like various different ones. I think you actually did a poll on our Facebook group once, and you said, you listed all of these sort of normal ones that and asked us all in the Facebook group, how many of these we had tried, and I believe I was the winner of that. I think
like 9 out of 10.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. And there was probably more that weren't on that list. I just and I was always just kind of trying to lose the same 10 to 20, maybe a bit over pounds. It was, but I was just always in this sort of constant phase or battle of going on a diet, trying something, and usually would work for a certain amount of time, or it would work. Because I also quite like a program. I like, I like to be told what to do, and if I believe in it and I'm on board, then I will tend to do it, and sure, see results. But it wasn't always a way to live my life. So then therefore, I was always sort of struggling to either stay on that plan or get back on it or find something new that would work better. And really, ultimately, the biggest problem was it sort of led me to having quite an unhealthy relationship with food and with dieting. Then that notion of either being on a program or off a program is just an unhealthy way to be. You would kind of be, I would punish myself for being off of it, or go to the extreme when I was off of it and say, oh, I'll get back on Monday, like that cycle was just not a way for anything to be sustainable. And also did leave me quite feeling like food had this quite control over me, which was a really just, it preoccupied my mind. It left me not always feeling very well if I ate too much, because and then the next day, your energy levels are all over the shop. So I was just on this cycle for quite a few years, really. Where I'd find a program, I'd find something, say keto or whatever, that worked really well for a certain amount of time. I got quite lean and I felt quite amazing on it. And again, in terms of a lifestyle and in terms of a way to be forever, it didn't work. And then also socially, and I would be scared to go out and do things because I'd be around food that would be considered tempting that were not on the plan, or part of the program, or would throw me off the rails. So, I remember too going to a friend's, it was their 40th, and we were away for a few days. And again, like, just to go away for a few days with friends, like, I just couldn't be normal around food. Like, it just, to the point where other people would notice. And it's, yeah, and I would look at other people and think, how can you be normal around food? I don't get it, like, how is that possible that you can just eat and be okay with it? Like, I just, so yeah, it's that relationship with food then obviously made it quite hard to sustain a stable body weight, and therefore train the way I needed to train and be happy in myself. Yeah.
Like, out of curiosity, like, how long were you doing this kind of, like, I suppose, always focus on the dieting side of things? If you weren't dieting itself, you were thinking about dieting or being off track kind of as well. Like, how many years do you think roughly that was going on for?
Oh, I remember my first kind of, it was a full-on program, like, where they, where it advised you a training plan as well as nutrition. You ate so much, and once you were eating, it was actually quite flexible and fine, but the problem was it then also gave you a free day, and that would have been the first real program that I would have done, and I probably was 19 or something. I mean, we're going on 20 years for sure of playing with all sorts of, from everything from a followed plan to hypnotizing to keto to, like, I don't tell you what. But mostly early on, it started with just finding ways to lose weight. And then that quickly turned into, or over time turned into, ways to just try and manage my my relationship with food, as well as keep a healthy, have the body I was wanting and needing for my job.
Like, say, before you reached out, like, with all that going on, like, and kind of just before you reached out and said, like, because again, you've done all these kind of programs, you're still, like, there's not many people that will continuously try and find something. Some people, like, get to 10 diets and, like, no, just kept on going. But like, just before you came on board, like, where were you kind of just in that place? Like, is that been the worst in terms of your relationship? It was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse, or it was a kind of, like, where were you at this before?
It just wasn't getting sustainably better. Like, I'd have periods of time where it was very good because I, found something that worked for that time, and I was able to execute it. It progressively, I would say, then it progressively got a bit worse, but it just really always felt like it was there in the background. I was always still afraid of food, or I was afraid of putting on weight, or I was afraid, like, it just had this really unhealthy control over me. And my body started to, I certainly lots of periods during my life, sort of lost my cycle, and just body was not, it was just not consistent. And I would say when I reached out to you guys, I was feeling a bit, just feeling a bit desperate. I tried all these things, and I really felt like I just must have something fundamentally, I'm just weak, or I have, don't have this control, or, I should be able to have this ability to figure this out. And I came to the conclusion that I just can't do it on my own. And I had come to that conclusion before, and I still tried a few other things, whether it just be talking to people or reading things, or certainly just trying to educate myself. But I then just decided that, okay, I need some really sort of personal help. I think somebody to, and then that's when I came across you guys. Yeah.
Now. So
Yeah,
run
exactly.
us through then actually what changed, because like you've been kind of going focused on dieting for so long, and we kind of did pretty much the exact opposite when you came in.
Yeah.
So what changed then in that time frame since like working with us? Now obviously it was a bit of a slow burner to get to where we are now, but just run us through then like what has actually changed for you in terms of like your relationship, food, your training, your energy, your physique as a whole, even like because your calories got up into a crazy amount, which is sad.
Yeah.
Just run through actually what changed for you in that time frame as a whole.
Yeah. Well, it's just amazing that what you don't know, like you don't know what you don't know, and I think that's just like been such a big part of this process is, the first thing you did, you looked at, heard my story, you looked at my pictures and said, yeah, what your problem or your issue more is a muscle mass issue, not a excessive fat issue, and or a fat loss issue. So where I just had never even like thought of it that way, even just mentally, like it just was a complete mental shift. And then I had to and put a lot of trust just in you and the process. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's right. So this is what I need to do. And I just had no concept of the idea of building muscle and eating in a way to build muscle. And so one can talk about it from a physique side, sure, but really the most important thing for me was just what that exercise did for me, with my relationship with food and my health, and just it's what I needed to do. I needed to spend time and just eat to fuel my body, and be normal around, not have categories of food off limits. That was it's just huge, and just be able to balance my week out with what I was eating, and not be, I've never in my life ate to try and put on weight, and that experience was just exactly what I needed. It was a really healthy thing to do on many levels, and I would have had no idea how to do that, or that was even what one does or should do. Like it was just all quite, just something completely new. And I again just put my sort of trust in the system, and it's really paid off. Yeah.
And like say just like with the food side of things, like say social occasions for example, because I know you had a couple of threads at the time, like what has that been like now since, like the way the story they had there, the example of kind of like how can people just be normal around food, like that's mad. But now like how is that like for you at the moment, given how much calories, like you had probably more calories than you even needed, so there wasn't like this restrictiveness that like in a box, like can't have this, can't have that. So what was that like in terms of, I suppose, freedom and just less stress around that kind of stuff?
Oh, it was liberating. Yeah, I mean, it was like completely life-changing, seriously, because I would genuinely, it would put a damper on things for me, either because I wasn't able to enjoy situations, or the next day knew I would feel, punish myself for it. So one of the two. And now, just having those 6 months of the rules with food being so simple, and I had to eat a shitload. That was pretty much the only rule.
Get them in.
I know. I'm like crazy. Like, all right, Sarah says. So that just transfers over to my, daily life, and then also socially, definitely, and it is also amazing. Even when you can eat a lot, you can go over still. So you do put a bit of thought, put a bit of thought into it. But then just that notion of banking your week and planning for it, it's just a whole layer of just a layer of skills I'd never had.
And like I remember even like just some of like the meals, like say if you did go over, like it wasn't, I don't think when we hopped on our call, let's say, it wasn't like, oh my God, I've gone on my calories, what am I gonna do? It was just kind of like, right, I'm over 300 or whatever it was, and it was just like on to the next week. Like it wasn't the kind of same punishing that you were doing, I suppose, before.
No.
And I think also in that time frame as well, like we have regained your cycle as well, like because you're doing this constant back and forth, which is not a lot of people will think of when they're dieting, as like a red flag. There's going on here. But like just from like that time then that you've had so far, like what's the main kind of takeaways that you've taken from that time, or major things that maybe didn't think you were going to get out of it, or even the process itself, obviously being it online, like what was the major takeaways from it?
Well, a few things too, with even from the training side. I wasn't sure how I was going to enjoy just training on my own. I'd really been doing a lot of CrossFit and sort of group training, and much more, jumping around and that sort of thing. And I've really, again, just really, enjoyed. It seems like it's a real specific goal and priorities, and you can really push yourself still, and along with your guidance and support, like sending videos and just having that confidence that you instill by just watching and giving feedback on the videos, was really just really enjoyed it, which was a bit surprising to me, to be honest. I thought I might get a bit bored or a bit just find it repetitive, and it's not at all. The sort of the enjoyment of getting stronger and in a real sort of controlled way was really good. I think for me, lockdown actually was beneficial in that department. I was able to get some good kit and set up my yard gym, and exactly. And I think and it was easier for me to send videos from home, and so I found it really hard and kind of weird in the gym trying to send videos, and just, so and there was always people in the way, and so I think that was all really really good. And then we've already talked this, the relationship with food thing, I think, is the biggest thing, and that's been amazing. And just the way I feel about myself, I think I said to you one time too, I started to think about even the layer of fat on my body differently. Like I it doesn't feel so much a part of me, it feels on top of me, it feels like I just and I have comfort in it, really. It's just, I don't even know how to explain it, but I just feel just feel like, sure, I'd like to get leaner, for sure still, but it's not a panic by any means. I know that it's I've worked really hard to build some muscle underneath that, and so it's just a blanket right now. And to before, it would have just been a bit toxic, the way I would have sort of talked to myself or thought about
nearly consume you nearly, whereas now it's just like it's there, you can work on it. And that's something we're actually doing now, where we actually are entering the dieting side of things. And even here's like, even just like the start of this diet phase, like has you noticed any difference compared to the way you've dieted before?
Well, yes, I would say it's completely different. I mean, just the fact that there's no off limit foods, I mean, it's just a game changer for me, really. There's not categories of foods that are off limits or one type of thing. There's certainly things that I would not keep around my house because they I like them a bit too much and they're a bit too easy to consume, but not again in a in a neurotic way, just in a it's probably best that just stays to the shop. It's completely different. And I quite you know, the tracking is essential to the whole process, but I enjoy that side of it, to be honest. I'm a bit, yeah, I like the routine. I like knowing, and yeah, being a bit scientific about it all is kind of part of the, yeah, part of the intrigue. And yeah, it's so, but yeah, it's completely different. Yeah.
And like
And the whole notion that we haven't got there yet, but I hadn't even heard of it before I started, you know, tuning in and listening, is that, you know, the fact that dieting should just be a phase, right? You should just, you know, like,
not 20 years of my life.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have, oh gosh. So, you know, it's a means to an end. And then, you know, I want to be able to live a, you know, a life that you can go out and enjoy the things that you want to enjoy, and just, but yeah, now I just feel equipped with tools and confidence and trust to you know, be set out into the world all by myself when I need to be. You know, when it comes to that, I think I've got, oh yeah, I've got tons of new tools, which who knew? Yeah, I wish I knew 20 years ago.
And like,
that's for sure.
Say if someone, like, maybe there's someone that's kind of maybe starting what you were doing, maybe they're not 20 years down the line like you were.
Yeah.
Like, what would you say to someone that's kind of maybe either sitting on the fence, worried about it, thinking about it? Like, what would you actually say? Because I know you were, I think you went away and thought about it again. So
yeah,
what would you say to someone who is a little bit nervous or on the fence?
I would say that, I mean, oh my gosh, do it. Absolutely. Hands down, 100%. But really, it's okay that you can't do it on your own. I think that was a big thing. I had a lot of sort of guilt and like just confusion as to why can I not sort myself out? Like, why is this so hard? I should be able to, you know, look at them. They're normal with food and they can go, you know, like what is wrong with me? The fact that I can't just sort this out. I just think that, again, you don't know what you don't know. The support is huge, and that it's okay that you can't do it on your own, or that you need help. And I think that's, your health is the most important thing. And genuinely, it's there's so much confusion out there, and it's hard to know what to do. And I don't think I think that's a very honest position for people to be in. And I know me going through this, it has opened my eyes to, okay, I'm not the only one that has struggled. You know, you're not alone, and it's not. So yeah, absolutely, hands down, do it. And I don't know how you, Sarah, have more time in your day, but yeah, take them up, sign them up. You're amazing. So just the confidence and the, you know, the way you go about things is just being clear and direct, but without being patronizing, and you know, supportive, and just in the right way. It's, you know, you want to look. I think it's also something like this. It's quite personal as well, and it's something that you're quite close to the person that's helping you, and so that personality and the way that you go about things was just so perfect for me. So that was yeah, no, it's been great. I look forward each week to our catch-ups. Yeah.
Thanks a million for doing this video. So you can wave bye now to the video before I switch off.